Triple KO!
What's up, dudes? Welcome back to Triple KO Across the Universe edition. I'm joined by Matt McMuscles in Canada. Hello.
Yes.
I'm joined by Justin, who's currently across the Pacific. Where are you currently, Justin?
Man, you make it sound like you're like a newscaster. So where are you right now?
News combo.
News combo.
News combo 7.
So I was in Korea, but now I am in Thailand. So we are jumping to country and country, and it is great because every hotel has an Ethernet port where I can still stream and obviously do this podcast right now. Just hanging out in Korea, and I hung out with Corey Gaming, went to his studios. That was great. You know, we talked a lot about just like content, future content. So that was great. And then, you know, I'm just playing Street Fighter 6, and we talked about it in the previous podcast before we started recording. I was like, man, I could just play Street Fighter 6 all day. And I ran into Daigo. Ran into Daigo
on
in
the
a ranked
street, and you
match.
beat his ass.
No, he actually gave me some PTSD moment, man. Like he parried my super and hit me with the SA2, and he yawned in the background. That was great.
He didn't know it was you?
No, he knew it was me because the chat was telling him, and he was like, "Wait, why am I playing Justin all of a sudden?" Right? So he probably thought like, "Wow, CFN matchmaking that patch got a huge buff, huh?" But he didn't know I was in Korea, and lots of videos have been made of just me and him playing in a 2 out of 3 setting. But besides that, playing so many amazing players, and then even in Thailand, where when I don't fight Korean and Japanese players in Thailand, I fight like Southeast Asia, like Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, and lots of amazing players there. I actually went to a Muay Thai fight last night, and I met real life Sagat. Real life Sagat.
What do you mean by real life Sagat? Because I thought Sagat was based off like a manga character from like an old manga, like back in the day. But is that based off this guy?
So pretty much, there's an article saying like this guy is like Sagat. Like he was already bald. He had an eye patch and everything, and like this is before Sagat was made. Supposedly, that's what the article was telling me. And I guess the character or timing was just way too close to it. And he even shows that with because the clothes he wears, like he has literally a Street Fighter logo with Sagat doing a tiger.
Oh, so he's just fully absorbed the brand.
Yeah, he fully absorbed into Sagat. There's a huge bunch of articles about it, and he's one of the legends of Muay Thai fighting in Thailand, just throughout history. He has his own gym, teaching people. We were there, and he was watching a student fighting in the ring, so that was kind of just amazing. A lot of people were going up to him asking for pictures and everything. So he was a huge big deal, and obviously, from the gaming perspective, I'm like, bro, that's a real life Sagat. Yeah. So that was crazy.
Yeah. It would be cool if he had a big, huge scar on his chest, and you're like, yo, where'd you get that? He's like, oh, a ladder fell on me and scratched my chest. It's not that cool, actually.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring up Shoryuken and anywhere close to him. So it's all good.
No bad memories. I have a completely unrelated fighting game question to your travels, Justin. Is how as a food related question, food in
there's so much food.
Too much, bro.
in Thailand, how is breakfast orientation is it kind of like Vietnamese food where you have these very hearty but non sweet breakfasts? That's kind of like that in the majority of Asian countries, right?
It's usually nothing like American breakfast, which is let's get a donut or a croissant or a bagel or eggs or bacon.
No, it's soups.
Soup, rice dishes, noodle dishes, things that I would say American people would think, oh, that's lunch? No, that's breakfast in Asia.
Yeah.
So it's been a blast. Food is super cheap here, very good. And they're always open. A lot of times if you want a really good meal, you can get it at 12 a.m., 2 a.m., or even 6 a.m., 7 a.m.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because your Twitter, you're posting more meals than meals get eaten in a day. So I'm like, just you and the people you're with, I'm just like, Yeah. You're just there's so much going on like throughout the day of these meals that I'm just like I can't keep up with it, and each thing looks like more amazing than the last.
Yeah, it's just you might as well go all out. That's what it comes down to, right? So it's but we only eating like 2 meals a day in general, but we just order a lot of variety just to try everything.
I was gonna ask, did you have any chance to check out like Korean like street food?
So I did for Korean street food, but you know what the problem? It actually kind of turned me off.
Really?
Because when you go to like a night market, like let's say in like California, you see like all these stalls and they have like different variety. Like each stand is like, okay, this is their like, let's say this is chicken, and the next
Yeah,
stall
they
is,
do
like,
different things to
pork
not
and stuff like
compete with
that.
the others.
Yeah. So this market that I went to for Korean street food, like there's like let's say 20 stalls. All 20 stalls are selling the exact same thing.
Weird.
Like Korean rice cake, like pork hocks, and like fried pancakes. And I'll check the next stall. It's the same thing. So they're all competing against each other. And I'm like,
That's weird.
man, yeah, it's kind of weird. So I'm like, how do I know which stall to buy from, right? Like in terms of like the food, and if I wanted like, okay, I'm done eating here, let me eat something else. You really can't, because it's just the same. You just ate that.
Yeah, that'd be like us going to a night market here. It's like a 626 is what they call them in SoCal.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh, so this place has bibimbap and skewers, and this place has bibimbap and skewers, and then bibimbap.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on? This is bullshit. That's the whole point of street food, is that you get some completely crazy
Right.
fusion thing with some right next to it. That's weird. Maybe you just went to the funky one.
No, I went to the most famous one.
Weird.
And,
That's
and this,
I'm pissed off.
yeah, I'm pissed off too. But besides that, like all the food was really good. Like you know how we know like wagyu beef and everything. That's like the really high tier beef. Or Canada's like AAA beef. So in Korea, their version of that's called Hanwoo beef, and that was crazy. Like John Ding,
is it
famous
buttery
Tekken
like?
player. Yeah, it was butter. The marbling was just insane.
Marbling though.
That's
Yeah,
the craziest thing. I mean, I'm so sorry to everybody that's watching this, wondering like, when are they going to talk about Johnny Cage? Where's the Aki trailer? Yeah, I've had like Japanese wagyu that was like a $30 skewer or something. I'm like, we got to try it. Like, we got to see what the heck it's like. And it was the most like, where's the meat? It was so like buttery, like marbled, like it was insane. I was like, I've never tasted anything like this before.
Yeah, they treat the beef with care, and like John Ding, he brought us to a Korean KBBQ place, and it's funny how it works there, because normally we order the meat at the restaurant in America or anywhere else around the world, but we go there and he busts out like a laundry bag, and I'm like, what's the laundry bag for? And he busts out pieces of meat that he bought from a butcher shop that owns this restaurant. So that's how you KBBQ. You go to a butcher shop and then you bring it to a restaurant and then you cook it.
Wow. To bring it back to fighting games, it gives you a really good appreciation for all the street food that you find in World Tour mode in Street Fighter 6. Like
I know,
they
that's so much
captured
variety
that
there.
culture pretty well. Like every single country you go to, it's like you have to try the local dishes and stuff and try everything out.
Was John Ding wearing Eddie's costume?
No,
Damn
he
it!
was just wearing a regular T-shirt that didn't want to show off his muscles.
Damn
Boo.
it. Where's the Eddie costume? I think didn't
I know,
he just win like a big Tekken tournament with Eddie?
Yeah, at Versus Fighting, it was like a Tekken Masters event.
Yeah.
So now I believe he's in third place in the leaderboard for points. So he's good. He's like, yeah, I'm chilling. I don't need to travel anymore, and I'll still qualify for Tekken World Tour
Yeah,
Finals.
he's like in TWT now.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. Well, I guess we should get on with it. God, shut up on the comments and
games.
people in the chat. Just shut up. I'm going to go out of order here because there's a couple of immediately relevant things I think we should talk about that are directly related to what is around the corner and is about to drop, which is the second biggest, most significant fighting game thing of 2023, which is the Mortal Kombat 1 launch. And we have been heavily anticipating like a bunch of reveals for MK1, and we've gotten quite a few over the past like week or so that we have not done this podcast. And there's still a lot missing, but we should talk about what has been announced. And obviously, MK1, we got the official Nitara trailer. So
Yes.
the reveal of Nitara, the pirate demon Batgirl, no longer a pirate, still a crazy demon Batgirl, vampire, sorry, but is now got the face and voice of Megan Fox. So we're talking about
so random.
Yeah, we're talking about modern era star power going into existing cast members of Mortal Kombat. And that's not that weird because, you know, Carrie played Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat 11, but that's like, yeah, but he is Shang Tsung, brother. Like that doesn't really feel like it counts. This is like the equivalent of like Taylor Swift is Sonya Blade. Like it's kind of like that.
Or Ronda Rousey as Sonya Blade.
I'm an idiot. I erased that from my... You're right.
Well, you're not wrong, too, because if there's one thing I could erase from my memory is Ronda Rousey's portrayal of Sonya Blade.
Yeah, so anyway, they're doing it again, is what we're trying to say. The star power interfering into the existing cast of Mortal Kombat. I mean, granted, it's not like a main headliner character like Sonya, but, you know, Nitara is one of the final revealed characters. She's opposite of Ashra in terms of, like, crazy vampire chick to holy demon girl, you know? And I think gameplay-wise, she looks really crazy. Like, one of the most...
She looks amazing.
Insane, mobility and, like, what is she doing, like, kind of stuff where it's really exciting to see what this character's capable of, even though you barely see any of it.
Because they intercut it with a lot of Megan Fox,
they
didn't do this with any other trailer because it didn't have like a notable name, I guess. And I was kind of like, It cuts with her wearing her gigantic pink hat from 2002. I thought that was weird. What's weirder is that I'm looking at this character and I'm like, this design wise, this character is all over the place.
A little bit.
They just have little bits of armor here, little bits of armor there. She was a pirate, Max. That's a good way to describe it because she had that weird headband thing that went over her eye.
Yeah, she had like an eye patch.
And I thought that was a little like, oh, that's that type of character. But because this Nitara has now got reddish hair, like red lipstick, and she's shooting a lot of blood, and just the facial model, I was like, this is really similar to Scarlet now. I know there's going to be differences with the mobility and stuff, but I just got like, this just feels like Nitara. This just feels like Scarlet again. I want to say like there's a lot of similarities between the two.
It was also giving me Firebrand vibes from Marvel 3. The way like the angles and how he flies and everything. Like it made her look really interesting because like every other character is kind of like, you know, obviously straightforward walking and everything in terms of movement, but she is like doing 8-way air dashes and everything. Obviously I know there's a block button, so like, you know, you're not really gonna get opened up, but the speed of her, that's where it's like if you're not holding that block button, you're going to get clipped and get, you know, and you're gonna get hit. And I felt like that gameplay really made me want to be like, oh, you know, I don't know Tara. I didn't like her in the movie. She got washed, but in the gameplay wise, it looks really good.
She looks pretty wild. And gameplay is like actually inspiring.
Yeah, gameplay wise, no problems. I was like, yeah, this looks cool. Max in her secret TKO Discord posted a picture of Mira from KI 2013. And yeah, big bang of Mira off this, where it's like, just
similar
when I
armor.
see vampires and
yeah.
When I see vampires in fighting games, it's like I want something a little, I don't know, different. I more iconic. Like Slayer is a sick ass vampire dude,
sick ass vampire.
And there's other examples throughout history. Dimitri, like, for example.
Because Mira isn't even like premium vampire chick. She's pretty good, right? She's pretty good. And I think the biggest issue I had with Nitara is like, man, I'm getting crazy like Mira vibes from her in terms of like utilizing her blood to do something. Yeah. She's like, people are like, she's like Morrigan. I'm like, no, Morrigan doesn't do that. This is like Mira from Killer Instinct, dude.
She just does Soul Fist.
Yeah, and also she's a succubus, not a vampire. You fucking nerd. It's a wyvern. No, I think there's like a lot of very similar elements to like Mira's design, and I think it's just like a little bit worse than Mira's design in some ways.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's not a big deal for me for design-wise because there's going to be skins. There's probably going to be a throwback costume, or
there's probably going to be a billion customization options.
Yeah. So, but it's still a little weird. It's like Megan Fox out of all people. Like she still makes movies and stuff, but it's not like, you know,
It was
the
random.
age.
Yeah.
It is a little random. They did make that Jennifer's body a reference. I think Kung Lao says it to her. It's like, what did you do with Jen's body? And some people are thinking, are they talking about Jen from Mortal Kombat Conquest? Because that was one of those characters' names. Or is this just a cheeky reference to Jennifer's body, which was her big starring vehicle that she does really well in because she's a blood-sucking demon succubus lady. And I guess based on that alone, they're like, yeah, let's give that a go.
Oh, I didn't know that. Then
Yeah.
this is fine. Like she literally is known
literally a demon that ate boyfriends.
Okay,
She's just
then that's perfect. Like to me, this just fits great. That's why she says what she says about, you know, the vampire thing. Why people are weirdly like
she's, like,
into
into
this
it.
stuff. Yeah, I didn't understand that, but because I have not seen Jen's body, so that makes
so did you
perfect
think that
sense.
she was like legit? I am into vampirism 100%.
I thought she was calling people
I bite
out.
people.
I thought she was like, people are just kind of into this weird shit. I don't know why, but I'm getting paid. That's what I felt it as. So I don't know. People complaining about, you know, Megan Fox being included. That doesn't make any sense to me now that there's context. That so she pretty much played this character before.
But that movie was like, you know, 15 years ago. So maybe some people just aren't even aware. Like that's possible. Too.
Mortal Kombat doesn't care about that. Like MK11 was assuming people knew who, like, you know, Rambo and RoboCop were.
Yeah, but a little more famous than the Jennifer's Body, like the horror movie that you don't know.
Hey, shut up. Yeah, I think my biggest criticism of her was that it just doesn't look like her. Like in one or two shots, it actually kind of looks like the person we're seeing on the screen. I don't know if it's supposed to look like her or it's just her voice. But, you know, I think in terms of the Mortal Kombat 1 art style, it doesn't match up as much that I think it might.
Yeah, I agree. There's also that bit where she goes, not only do I voice the character, but I was like, oh, cool. She did the mocap too. That's neat. And she's like, but I also play Mortal Kombat really good.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
I don't know about go against Justin, Megan Fox. Justin versus Megan Fox.
It's just
first
like
to 10.
It's one of those things where I'm like watching. I'm like, oh, this is great. Like I don't care if it was like voice and by Megan Fox or anything. But then she's like, I think she said a soundbite where she's like, yeah, like I love playing this game, and I'm like, man, I don't know. Like that might be kind of a PR answer.
Because.
Go ahead.
I also don't think Batista plays it either. He's like playing in his little trailer, and I'm like, I don't think Batista plays it.
I could see him playing before Megan Fox, though. I feel like I don't know.
No, I bet you Batista played it when he was like 20,
like a little kid, you know.
But like he has not played Mortal Kombat since.
No, yeah,
that's just my feel.
I had a funny
1000%.
realization where it's like, man, how many people like think they're good at like how many people actually can play Mortal Kombat, like reliably do combos and block things, right? How many people can actually do that? And it's like, yeah, maybe like it's got a really big casual audience, like maybe 10%. And then you think about that for a second and you're like, wait a minute, Mortal Kombat X sold like 10 million copies the last we heard. You're telling me 1 million people know how to like properly play Mortal Kombat? Definitely not, brother. Considering that like obviously the MK audience skews heavy casual, we're talking like 1% of 1% of 1%. It's like extremely small, the people that actually can complete combos and reliably block shit.
You know, I mean, we will see an example of that in when the game launches with the exhibition with Sonic Fox and Waka Flocka. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
It's probably going to go as well as that one exhibition Sonic Fox had with that guy that was calling him out like crazy and saying he was trash and that he was a god. And then Sonic Fox fought this guy, and the dude you could audibly hear him mashing his face against the controller, and he thought he was good.
Oh, man.
It was painful.
If instead of Batista or in addition to Batista, they announce like Henry Cavill is playing Shao Kahn. I was like, I bet you he knows combos and shit. This big Warhammer nerd,
Yeah.
Henry Cavill, that builds Warhammer shit in his basement. Yeah, that guy knows how to do a few combos. I think that's the
That'd be
one
sick.
celebrity I'll believe.
I mean, I feel like for celebrities for playing Mortal Kombat, like they might not know like FGC in terms of like, oh, this is how you should play the game. But I guarantee they know how to do the fatalities though. Right? The casual audience, like, oh yeah, I know how to play Mortal Kombat. I'm mad good. I got the fatalities down. I feel like that's what people view as like, I'm good at this game.
You have to
The
like
upper echelon.
you have to think about it where it's like, man, it feels like there's a lot of people that are really good at like Street Fighter 6 or even a Mortal Kombat. Like, man, this audience is so big. But then you realize that if you're posting on forums and commenting on like videos and looking up tech and doing like all those FGC things, you're already in like a super echelon 1% because I've seen people where I went to like a fun bar, like a themed bar, and they had consoles and shit. And I was there with my wife, and this was like 7 years ago. They were playing Mortal Kombat X, and I was like, dang. They got MKX over there, honey, and people were playing it. And I went over there and I watched the people that were playing MKX, and I saw what they're doing, and I walked back to my wife, and it's like, I don't want to ruin their day. They're just having fun.
Yeah,
and that's like
sense.
that's the difference. I'm not going to get any enjoyment out of watching these poor guys.
You gotta tell them. You gotta teach them to learn, man, Max. You know,
Yeah, I
don't
think
be that nice.
you're the expert of that, Justin. Want to tell us a little story of something that happened over the past week?
You know, so I don't know how true this is. Okay, so there's a person named Asian Lamb, and if you guys don't know, just YouTube Justin Wong bullying 8-year-old kid, right? In Mortal Kombat X.
Hey,
so
what?
I guess somehow a person is saying, "Oh, I am him. You know, I'm older, and I'm trying to get a run back in Mortal Kombat 1." So I need to do some research. You know, I'm not gonna do research right now. I'm in Asia, but if he is real, I will give him a run back for sure. So I need to coordinate and see how real this person is claiming that he is that 8-year-old kid that I fought when Mortal Kombat X came out. That'd be sick, and so we'll see.
Like, or it could just be like another FGC player is just playing mind games with you and setting this whole elaborate ruse.
The Twitter account is random. It's like John Doe with like 10,000 numbers. I'm like, oh, man, I don't know how real.
You need to
this person
provide
is.
some evidence, brother.
Yeah, and then the evidence that he has is like literally like the phone, like a old ass phone camera. Like, look, this is my account, and blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't know how real it is. I need some more proof. I need some, like way more proof than that. So we'll see.
We'll see how that turns out.
Speaking of like celebrities and all these cameos and stuff, so we got a pretty big reveal that happened earlier today, which was the Jean-Claude Van Damme full trailer. It wasn't just like the little things that was on the hot ones that Ed Boon was doing, and poor Ed, man, was like, I don't like hot sauce very much. And WB's like, eat the hot sauce.
Dude, that's crazy.
He crushed it though.
Yeah.
Like Ed is like his eyes are watering and stuff, but like for someone that's like, oh, I can't handle hot stuff. Like I've seen celebrities break down, like they want to give up. No, he did it, man. Like I was really impressed.
If he survived the bomb, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more impressed that like he was able to like get on the show and like talk about Mortal Kombat 1 and everything. That's like huge. Like, you know how like Street Fighter 6 had like, huge marketing, and they had like Zelina Vega come out as jury at Royal Rumble. Like that's already huge enough. So the fact that NRS is like, hey, we need to do something different as well, get something big. Ed, you trying to go to Hot Ones? That was just insane. I love that. I'm a huge fan of Hot Ones, so the fact seeing him on it was like, that's so boss. It's crazy.
Yeah, to think that he shares the same seat with like, Gordon Ramsay and Shaq.
Yes.
And
everyone.
Shaq cried.
Yeah, Shaq cried. Like a huge bitch.
Shaq's a huge bitch. Maximilian Dood.
I would never do that shit. That spicy shit terrifies me, man.
I did that once by biting into like a hot pepper for like Xavier Woods, like old the hot pepper gaming.
Oh yeah.
Years and years ago. And I did that, and I had to review, God, I forgot what I reviewed, but I had to do that, and like that wasn't like a sauce, and that was just the one thing, and that fucked me up all day.
Yeah.
So Yeah, big ups to anyone that does this nowadays, especially like Ed. He just wants to make video games, and he's on this whirlwind tour through all the various cons and gaming conferences, and he's like, I gotta eat all these fucking wings now.
Shout outs to Hot Pepper Gaming for coming up with the talk about shit while being spiced out of your mind. Way before Hot Ones was even around.
Hot Ones.
It was like, this is like 2011, 2012 was Hot Pepper Gaming. And I was like, dang, these guys had this idea way ahead of time. So yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Sorry, I don't know how we got distracted.
He's Hot Ones.
Those Hot Ones. Jean-Claude Van Damme is in Mortal Kombat. We saw the reveal. He is quite literally just a skin over Johnny Cage. He is delivering word for word and line for line the exact same things that Johnny Cage says, which feels a little out of character for Jean-Claude in general. It feels kind of weird to see him acting like Johnny Cage, even though, it is the way it is.
I think there's one line that must have been for Jean-Claude, which is him fighting Garrus and saying,
the kickboxer
okay,
line.
I'll be a kickboxer, you be a street fighter.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on. First of all, I marked the fuck out to that. I was like, ah! And then it really hit me. You have Guile in your game.
Yep. Yeah.
And it all came full circle twice.
I want a crazy ass like Street Fighter 6 art style Jean-Claude Van Damme over Guile in Street Fighter 6 so bad. Charge me $80 for it. Fucking do it. I will buy it.
You charged $80 for Ninja Turtle costumes.
It was like $100. It was like $100 for.
That's $100 skid. Do it, you cheap bastards. So yeah, like I think he sounds really good. And I think that costume is fucking perfect because again,
Bloodsport.
It is and isn't the Bloodsport costume. It's like Johnny Cage's like costume from classic MK1, I think, like OG MK1, which was obviously just supposed to be, an homage to Jean-Claude because that's what MK1 was supposed to be, the original MK1. But again, similar to Megan Fox, it's like I think some shots of him look like Jean-Claude Van Damme and others is just like, is that still Johnny Cage?
Other angles.
Yeah. Is that still the same character? And I'm curious to see what you guys think about like this celebrity appearance visual stuff, because I think what's happening so far in Mortal Kombat 1 is the character likenesses to real people aren't matching up as much as it did in MK11.
Yeah, I would say for me, it's kind of ruining my memory of Jean-Claude Van Damme as like, because the way he's dressed in the trailer is like, oh, Bloodsport. Yes. That's what it just gives me, automatic. And he was so cool in Bloodsport, like so chill, like really like on the path of that warrior type of vibe, with his training, like the flashback to his training and then going to the tournament. So watching him acting as this trailer as Johnny Cage, who's like very cocky and showboating, it's like Bizarro World Bloodsport.
I agree.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I feel like it's kind of weird for me because anytime, like, there's so many times in like conversations when we talk about like old school movies, action movies, Bloodsport's always going to be one of those ones that comes up. So, I guess I still prefer obviously Bloodsport Jean-Claude Van Damme versus this Jean-Claude Van Damme that's acted as Johnny Cage, who just kind of gives like that Bloodsport fit vibe in terms of the looks, but in terms of just acting, I just wasn't a fan of it too much.
Yeah, Johnny Cage is the big rich dickhead, right? And that's like his entire big rich Hollywood dickhead. So seeing JCVD over that like doesn't. Maybe he was that at some point in the 90s behind the scenes, and that you could argue that. But in terms of the characters,
probably during Street Fighter,
for sure. In terms of the characters he portrays, like definitely not. So it feels like it's like, are they making fun of it? They're not. It's literally a cost-effective thing. We can't like record lines and do all this shit for him.
Exactly.
But imagine the direction they must have given him. It's like, okay, you're you, but you're playing a fictional character that's modeled after you.
It's a weird situation.
But not your characters from movies, how we think you act in real life, maybe. Like, it's because even aside from the Bloodsport role, when I think about classic Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, he's just mostly always a stoic badass.
Yeah, exactly.
There's only one I can think of where ironically, it's the one where there's two Jean-Claudes.
Oh,
It's
the
double
twins, yeah.
impact.
Yeah, double
where
impact.
he's a stoic like guy that like lives on the streets, but his twin brother is this rich asshole who acts exactly like this. But aside from that, like Time Cop, Universal Soldier, maybe Street Fighter, he's a bit more jokey, but he's always like he acts a certain way. So having a glitzed up cocky Jean-Claude Van Damme, it was always going to be weird because when they announced Jean-Claude Van Damme's skin for Johnny Cage, you're like, okay, because like you said before, when Carrie played Shang Tsung, Christopher Lambert played Raiden, they were playing those characters that they played in the movie, but Jean-Claude never played. Jean-Claude played the Predator for a little bit, but they didn't cast him as the Predator.
You know what would have been like? I mean, obviously more expensive, but better and cooler is if Jean-Claude Van Damme plays Johnny Cage. In the same way that Megan Fox is playing Nitara, just get Jean-Claude Van Damme to be the character, right? And then you just play Johnny off as like a Hollywood guy that's a bit older that is trying to chase his action career or something like that. But no, like MK1 is obviously everyone's got to get younger again because Zoomers like our games, so we can't have everyone being in their late 40s anymore. They have to stop this.
But well, no, maybe he is playing Johnny Cage because no one in the game says you're Jean-Claude Van Damme, right?
No,
like they say you're Johnny Cage.
He word for word is Johnny. He's just delivering Johnny lines. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much just a clone.
It's Dimitri Vegas. It's the equivalent of Dimitri Vegas in MK11.
Okay.
Or Dimitri Vegas has become Sub-Zero, like sorta. But instead of like, you know, revolving his entire character like around it, it's not. Again, like the better situation would have been like from the very start, how cool it would have been if Jean-Claude Van Damme just played the part of Johnny Cage throughout the whole game. Now it just feels like, oh, we're tacking on Jean-Claude with the skin.
Since Liu Kang rebooted the universe, Fire God Liu Kang, he's like, I'm gonna make Jean-Claude Van Damme Johnny Cage.
Yeah,
like
bizarre world,
decision.
man.
I can do what I want.
And to speak on the note of like, why don't the characters? I think there's more similarities to the real life actors in Mortal Kombat 11 than there is in Mortal Kombat 1. And I don't know if that's a budgetary thing, but I do think it's an artistic thing because clearly I think the visual design of characters in MK1 is going for something a bit more realistic, or trying to, right? So they're really trying to get realistic looking character models and faces. It always feels like they're doing this, number one, because that's just Mortal Kombat's thing. But clearly, to a degree, MK11 and Injustice 2 use very similar technology to execute what they do. And yeah, those character faces, though, are still kind of stylized, as we were sort of mentioning it before. They're like caricatures of the the action stars that they were playing. So it still very much looked like Arnie. It looked like Sylvester Stallone. It looked like RoboCop, right? So that they in 9 out of 10 situations were like, oh yeah, that's obviously that person. Now it's like in 8 out of 10 situations, you're like, is that Jean-Claude Van Damme? Is that Megan Fox? And I think that's simply because they're going so realistic with the art style in MK1 that now there's like more scrutiny to it, to a point where it almost feels like I'm looking at people wearing cosplay costumes. The visuals of MK1 have gotten so good now that I don't see characters anymore. I see people wearing costumes.
That's a good.
It feels like I'm watching cosplayers beat the shit out of each other. So I think I still prefer overall the art style of MK11. I think MK11 is still like the most premium MK games have ever looked. It's just so good looking in that game.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I also think it's because they picked Stallone and Schwarzenegger, who have very distinctive features.
Sure.
You go to someone like Jean-Claude and Megan Fox, it's like harder to pick out what makes their face their face.
No, dude, Jean-Claude Van Damme's mouth, his big crazy mouth, like he has like,
have a
super
mouth.
Expressive mouth that is absolutely what makes Jean-Claude, like his Hollywood ass face, you know.
But again, it's like Rambo has like this big bouffant of black hair and the red headband, and like Johnny Cage as Jean-Claude Van Damme as Johnny Cage. Like he's just got a schlock of brown hair and that's just kind of it. Like it's just so weird, this whole situation, the whole 30 years in the making thing. I was like, God, this is weird. Just how, and I always thought it was supposed to be Mortal Kombat starring Johnny Cage as like a character in Mortal Kombat. And the Hot Ones interview, Ed's like, no, we were literally pitching Johnny Cage the video game. Sorry, we're pitching Jean-Claude, JCVD. Van Damme needed to be on the arcade machine.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? I thought it was just you're going to be the main playable character in this game called Mortal Kombat. So that was the one bit of news from the Hot Ones thing. I was like, oh, that's neat. I didn't quite know that.
Yeah, so it's we're on that giant marketing push right now, the fat ass marketing push of everything for MK. I'm looking at we didn't talk about the Batista live action trailer.
Speaking of more marketing pushes.
Really?
No, we didn't.
We didn't. All right. So yeah,
but there's not much to say.
There's not much to say. Overall, I think we talked about
the first Batista trailer because there was like two, I think, like an announcement, and then this one was a live action trailer.
Oh, really?
The thing where he's playing the game though?
Yeah, I think that was the first one.
Yeah, we might have talked about this and not recorded it. Like wasn't part of the podcast last time. Yeah. We might have. I can't remember.
Yeah, and the second one was like a full on like live action trailer.
Yeah. And that live action trailer I think is only okay. I think it was pretty good.
It's okay.
Yeah, it was okay. So it doesn't hit the same notes as some previous ones. I think the MKX live action trailer is even like a little bit better.
The greatest trailer. What's the greatest trailer for any Mortal Kombat game all time? Hey, I'll answer that own question with this. It's the Mortal Kombat 2 trailer for the home video release. They just have the greatest costumes.
Yep.
Like that looks so sick, and it's just a bunch of characters running around in various like recreations.
It's
of the
spooky
stages.
and creepy.
It's spooky and creepy as shit. I remember that commercial when I was a kid. I'm just being like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like it was better than the Mortal Kombat screaming commercial. I wish they redo that, but it's a little too vague.
Well, the Mortal Monday, like thinking back on it, the Mortal Monday trailer is good because Mortal Kombat was like an anomaly. It was a mystery. So at that point, it was everyone congregating for a big celebration of Mortal Kombat. What the hell is Mortal Kombat? Oh, it's a super violent fighting game. Like, wow, it's Street Fighter, but you crush nuts and eat ass. Like this game's crazy. So that reveal was like appropriate for that. But now, like the MK2 trailer, I think is obviously better. I think it's even better because at that point you know what Mortal Kombat is. So now you get a trailer that's like literally the equivalent of like the Modern Warfare 2 of fighting games was Mortal Kombat 2, bro, dude. So that game and that trailer appropriately had so much hype behind it, and they spent so much money on this absolutely sick ass trailer, and it's still one of my favorites for fighting game trailers to date.
Yeah, good. Glad you agree. But yeah, it's like now it's like Mortal Kombat comes out officially worldwide on a Tuesday. Boo!
On a Tuesday.
Gaming industry is completely abandoned Monday, so we can never have a true Mortal Monday ever again. It's either Tuesday or but if you have early access and you paid the premium amount, then people get it even earlier. So you can't even do that anymore. You can't have catchy names for. I think there was a Fatality Friday for a particular Mortal Kombat game. I want to say Deadly Alliance, but I remember Fatality Friday being a thing. Ketchup would know.
Yeah, it's going to be some sort of Hallmark holiday somewhere where there's a card you can buy for it. So the other big news, obviously, like MK is right around the corner, and relevant to it that is happening within this week is the reveal of information. And there's still unannounced characters in the roster at this point of us making this podcast. And there is still several roster members, if not cameos, where we just do not know how they play. We shockingly know probably less about how this game is played and actually seeing people play it. Like that's another thing where we've seen like the beta footage, but the beta footage hasn't changed that much from the initial release footage at Summer Games Fest because it's mostly the same roster. And I think some of the best marketing this game had was in the last Combat Cast. We watched like Shao Kahn versus somebody. It was either like Reptile or or
was
some.
Baraka,
It
maybe?
was Baraka, yeah. Shao Kahn versus Baraka. And actually the game looked great. Like Motaro as an assist, like all this cool shit happening. I was like, dang, game looks really good right here. Why haven't we seen more of this? And yeah, like we just haven't seen these characters actually like do much and fight each other outside of their initial reveals. And that, in my opinion, is weird.
Like, we haven't seen Reptile. We haven't seen Melina, I don't think.
Nope. No Raiden?
There's just too much. There's
Kung
too
Lao,
much content.
maybe? Yeah.
Too much possible content, and then it's too little time at this point.
No, we did see Kung Lao.
Kung Lao only came from us, which was from the invasions thing, from the event.
Invasions.
Where we got to choose characters, and in the story mode, you play like a gimped Kung Lao, where he doesn't have the majority of his moves because he doesn't have his like blade hat yet. So it was like, and then you play him later on in the invasions mode, or you can, which most of us did because he was the only playable new character, to learn that, yeah, he's pretty straightforward. Like, he's kind of like the most straightforward Kung Lao like ever. Like the super speedy, nutty Kung Lao that was even in Mortal Kombat 11, X, and 9. He's not really like that anymore.
So he doesn't have crazy spins and hat tricks like he used to in MK.
Spin now doesn't do what it did before. No
launch?
Not really. It's like a get off me tool now. He has a dive kick very similar to Sub-Zero's dive kick. He has an overhead. He has a low starter. But in terms of like really fast, like that kind of shit, all that's gone. He doesn't really seem to have that much anymore. He has like a back forward 2 special that sort of does that. So he's not really a close range like kind of like character that he always has been in the past. He's sort of like forward 2-1, back 2-1, forward 3, and that's like kind of what he does.
I wonder if they kind of switched that role, like that archetype, to Raiden. Because
maybe
Raiden was pretty explosive, like a close range. So maybe it might be Raiden that's like more Kung Lao-ish now.
And we just don't know.
We just don't know yet.
That's the crazy part about all this, is that we don't know. The nice part is that by the next time we have another, Triple KO podcast, we will be able to most likely talk about a lot of this stuff, and the game will have had a little bit of time to cook in the public eye, much less the official launch, like not even the early, the early special edition launch will have happened. So
for those that don't know, like, I'm gonna be away, Justin's gonna be away, so the next podcast that'll be out when Mortal Kombat has released will be like a random topic one. We recorded that ahead of time, so by the time we actually reconvene, like, MK1 will be out for like a good, like, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a full week. I don't know the timing exactly. So by that time, it's always good versus like, we can, like you said, digest it a little bit more versus, we recorded the day after they came out. Like, we haven't experienced like half the stuff that you and I have. Either of you guys played World Tour and Street Fighter 6 yet?
I have. I beat
it.
I was very low level. I was at level 47. I beat it, but it took a long time because the life bars are really long for the bosses. So yeah, I did.
So just a situation like that. Max stares off into space.
I have no answer.
That's fine.
Speaking of Street Fighter,
you're a busy guy.
We have a brand new trailer. Came online, I think, a bit faster than all of us were expecting. Aki got officially revealed for Street Fighter 6 outside of the short like story mode snippet thing that we saw at EVO. Actual full gameplay trailer. We might be seeing more on her very soon because Tokyo Game Show is right around the corner. And she comes out at the end of, I think it was September. I think she's like September 27th.
27 or 27 or 29.
Yeah, so it's really not that far away. It feels like Rashid just came out, but then you think about it, it's like, no, Rashid dropped like before EVO. He dropped like, late July or something like that.
July.
It's just that time is going by that fast. So Aki looks pretty crazy, and it's another testament to like, let's take a character in Street Fighter that not a lot of people like a ton, and let's just turn him into like a chick, and then all of a sudden everyone's on board.
To be fair, going with more of a theme, like she's a snake lady, she has these movements, that's still way more creative than Fong's just I'm weird, like that. Like, I'm weird and poisonous. That's it.
I agree with that.
Remember looking at Aki being like, oh, she's snake like. That's weird and creepy and funky and scary. What was Fong? I'm like, Fong was a stinky pigeon, like flying around and shit. Like he was just the worst.
Yeah, and just mashing. How about a double dose of poison? Like it just
So bad.
sounded weird, jokey, like a cartoon character type of vibe.
Yeah.
'Cause the two people that are on the Fong Defense Force will be in the comments being like, well, he's the best. I love him.
I'm sure they're furious.
Yeah, they're furious. And I'm like, bro, now you have Aki, so you're gonna just like convert.
Yeah.
So, but she's amazing.
She does have like one or two mannerisms that do make me think of Fong.
Oh,
a
for
little
sure.
Bit. Like she's
of course.
super slender, like more so
Yeah.
than any other character, and she just has like an animation flourish to her. I'm like, yeah, this is Fong's student daughter, or whatever. She
Yes,
is.
and they actually did reveal that it's literally Fong's like protege. It's his student.
Okay.
I'm like, and that made me like realize, even though not even that long ago I played it, I'm like, Fong lived in the Street Fighter V story. He survived.
No, he died eventually.
I could have swore he dies eventually. Rashid like breaks his neck or something like that. Like,
Okay,
no, he lives apparently.
I played it like 2 or 3 months ago. It was like he falls into a vat of lava, but that doesn't actually kill him. You don't see him actually go into lava. It's just implied. Then he comes back out, and then you fight him again, and then the Shadowloo base explodes. But I still don't think you see a definitive
No
death.
body. He's Palpatine.
No body.
He's no body. He's
think
still
that's-
alive.
Bro, if
Yeah.
it's never if there's ever a situation where the body's not found
Bison.
and stuff like this,
Alive.
always alive.
Yeah.
Always alive.
Yeah, we saw Bison explode. Actually, that didn't even matter before, because even before he got like sucked into Rose's soul or some weird
Oh, the
shit.
Alpha 3?
Yeah.
The Alpha 3 ending?
Yeah, like Bison literally becomes ethereal and explodes into orbs and shit, and then he's
Yep.
now stuck in Rose's right butt cheek, and she can't get rid of him, or some funky story element.
Street
So
Fighter
he's-
4.
Yep.
So he's kind of like Majin Buu, bro. He just eventually just regenerates.
So
That's what it comes
How-
down to.
How does Aki's poison thing work? Because has there been an official breakdown? Because I was just watching the trailer. I'm like, it just looks like she's poisoning them. But maybe I'm missing something.
we were kind of
that's the-
we were hoping it was going to
Yeah.
be interesting and do some funky drive gauge shit. Apparently, it is health based, so it's pretty similar to Fong.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate because I don't know. I didn't read any information if there is extra, but like when I looked at the trailer, I'm like, I hope the poison affects the drive gauge and not the life.
So
that would've been so cool.
The big difference now, and the thing that was really unsatisfying about Fong was that you would just run into the poison and it would have no collision at all. It would just
Yeah.
sort of pass through you and then start messing you up. Apparently this one, like, you can actively manipulate her weird poison balls to explode and actually have collision, and
something,
then it poisons and hits you, which is like, for some reason, like as a fighting game player, it's deeply unsatisfying to see like a move come out and it just passes through them. It's like, what? And yeah, you get wet. Like it made you poisonous. What? Like, it sucks. I don't like it. So now it's like it's different. Now she clearly is having like an effect using poison in some of her attacks, which is a lot better.
What about her stance? Did you guys like her little crawl on the floor?
It's
stance?
wonderful.
Yeah, that was cute. Yeah.
It's so good.
It's funny how like, yeah, Aki is now joining the roster of characters with all freaky weird shit. And now people are starting to get to the point where they've played enough Street Fighter 6 where everyone's hating to fight everybody. Where it's just like, I still hate fighting everyone. So it's Street Fighter 6 has enough unique shit on its characters where it's turning into Guilty Gear.
It's true.
Yeah, it's also, this might be also Capcom's weirdest character in a Street Fighter game, possibly. 'Cause
Have you
every other
seen
character,
Fong?
no, but like in terms of like the play style and everything, it's just she's very has that Voldo.
Yes,
type of
she's
vibe
now
going on, right?
she's Capcom Voldo, yeah.
Right. So it's just her movements are weird. How does her normals look like? Like I'm just so curious because they're so like movement based. Like there's just so much going on with all her normals, all her specials, just
And, like,
flying all
her-
over the place.
Her
So it's kind of
throw,
interesting.
she like slinks all over your body and like a
Yeah.
snake.
You know
slithering
what?
through it. I
I'll-
thought that was really cool.
I'm going to contest you on this, Justin. I'm going to say there is another character that, like, overall visually and gameplay wise has been even weirder and out there than Aki, and it's not anything
that?
and nothing from Street Fighter 3.
Who's that?
Street Fighter 4.
Dalsum.
Street Fighter 4? What?
Super Street Fighter 4.
Hakan, Forte?
Definitely Hakan. Dude, it's definitely Hakan. You got this guy that literally slips around everywhere like he's on ice skates, and then he gets more. He has slippery levels where he gets extra slippery.
But Turkish oil wrestling is a thing.
Well, right.
It's not an actual snake style kung fu is a thing, but that's not what she's doing here.
Yeah,
she's like making up her own fighting style.
Why does Hakan have a Mega Man head?
That is the weird part.
That is the weird part.
And like how
Lego head.
Like gameplay wise, Hakan is absolutely like bonkers. Like if you look at what he's doing compared to anybody else in that game, his game plan, his literal, you get extra slippery and all of his frame data changes. He becomes like he's like 4 different characters in one. He can special cancel out of like normal things he normally no other character could. He's super bizarre. Like to me, it's like Aki's got some freaky stuff about her, but like Hakan was like, what am I looking at?
I guess overall, you're like with the design.
It also took like Capcom like 3 years to finally make Hakan a playable character, though.
Yeah, it's true.
It took them a while.
They had to know what Street Fighter 4 was.
Also, let's give him 9 girl babies that also have the Lego head.
Yes.
And are all the same age. So his wife really went through that.
Yes. And his wife is
also weird
completely normal anime waifu. I love my daughters. They are so pretty.
That's why Hakan needs to come back like immediately. All this stuff.
Yeah, that's
like, tell me something about Abel.
He's blonde.
He doesn't remember.
He has
I don't
blue
remember
clothes.
Either.
He doesn't remember.
I lost my mind when Abel shows up in the Street Fighter V story mode where he takes off his mask, and I was like, am I supposed to? Oh, this is Abel.
This piece of shit.
I played Abel. Like I played as him. He was like not my main or anything, but
he's got fun gameplay
quite a bit.
To be real, he's a fun character to play.
He's mixed. Yeah, he's a mixed character. He's one of those new characters that's like, yeah, if you want to play a very offensive character, grappler, hybrid grappler, that's your character. Because hybrid grappler became a thing. And, like that's when hybrid grapplers became a really strong thing in Street Fighter 4.
Mm-hmm. All ushered in by Alex, of course.
Yeah, but has the Alex trailer came out yet?
No, we still haven't seen Alex in Street Fighter 5.
Yeah,
Street Fighter 5 specifically.
Okay,
we're waiting on that Alex trailer.
It's been a long time. I didn't know Street Fighter 5 content's still coming out. So all right, cool.
So Aki was pretty much a hit. The nice part is that they have another like super eccentric, crazy, even like female character in the roster. A game where Street Fighter 6 has a lot of like female roster characters that are pretty crazy and different. And Aki is just up there, and she's psycho in a way that's different than social media psycho, which is what Jury kind of is, right?
Yeah.
Which is fun. I'm curious to see how this goes, and this is going to be. This was immediately a character I had zero interest in playing, and after seeing the trailer, I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to see if it lasts more than a couple days, like Rashid. Rashid was a couple of days before I was losing my mind, but hopefully she has some gameplay stuff that really resonates.
She might be one of those characters that will take a while, because I felt the same way with Rashid. In the beginning, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But now, so much Rashid stuff has dropped.
People are starting to get there.
Yeah, and it looks so crazy. It looks so good. He's moving up the tier list every day. It's like, yeah, he might be top 5 all of a sudden, right? A lot of people are saying that. So I wonder if Aki might have that similar vibe where it's like, okay, yeah, I figured her out. But then eventually it's like, wait, she got lots of sauce, actually.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, all these characters in Street Fighter 6 now, they're like, it's so deep. Like the gameplay's still evolving and everything. So yeah, I'm super excited to see what she's going to be about.
The other big piece of news that popped up over the past week that I have not had a chance to check out yet, just because, getting ready for MK and the all, has been Pocket Bravery. Got its actual full release on Steam, big roster, rollback netcode, crazy fully featured game. I know you guys got a chance to play the earlier versions. Did you get a chance to play the full one?
I have not. It came out while I'm on this trip right now.
I see.
So I haven't played
so many games released in the last last 2 weeks either. But I did purchase it. And I plan to play it like this weekend.
Yeah, but obviously there's so much love. It's pretty much a homage to just fighting game history with all these characters, all these new characters, even the stage in the background where like we're literally in the background in the arena watching people fight and everything. So it's a beautiful game. I played the beta, the demo, so the fact that it's finally out, and it took a long time. They really were pushing this game, and it's out on everything too. It's like Steam, PS5, Xbox. So they really killed it. With that.
It's out on Steam fully, but the console releases aren't quite there yet. The trailer shows them, but it says they'll be out this year though. So not too long now. They did also show the final boss. I believe he's the final boss. I didn't catch his name, but he's like this crazy Yamazaki style dude where he's like, and he's got like a mohawk, and he's got all these grappling energy moves. Like he looks like a sick final boss. But yeah, I don't remember his name, but like like we've talked about Rocket Bravery a couple of times, but I'm super glad that still, I think we started talking about the start of this year or maybe late last, so that it's finally like finished on Steam. You can purchase it, and the console versions have become like trials mode. There's something called Make a Combo. I was like, what is that? Make a combo.
I think it's called the Combo Factory.
It's
Factory. Called Combo Factory. You make your it's like Guilty Gear Strive. You make your own combo, and then possibly I don't know if you can upload it, and then people can try to see if they complete it.
Okay.
But there's a lot of single player content in this game. Obviously, it has rollback netcode, story mode, local versus, their own trial mode, which people are saying it's really hard, like King of Fighters 13 type of level hard. So I'm super excited to try that out, see if that's like really true. But yeah, I want to see what the Combo Factory mode is. That's actually kind of cool. And obviously they have the guest character show from Breaker's Revenge, so that's really sick as well too.
And similar news of like big community run games and practically indie made fighting games is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 got a giant
talk about this
showcase video. I think he worked on it. He's responsible for making Strider 2099 and has been a big MVC3 community guy and modded community guy for a long time. Put together a big trailer full of a ton of new reveals. It was like a recap trailer of all the crazy stuff that's in there. This is actually, this big patch thing is not available yet. It's going to be coming down the line. But there were several of reveals in here. One of them was Dan Hibiki, fully realized and playable character, like has his explosion like super that just kills him and you. He literally has him signing a signature and throwing it at your ass, like from Marvel 2. It's pretty wild, and he's obviously more sauced than Dan has ever looked. Model's looking pretty good too, but ultimately with like Marvel 3, it's a hodgepodge of this and that put together.
Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, exactly. The other one was, oh god, what is Mr. Godhand?
Jean.
Jean is in the game. Has been teased for a long time. I think of all the characters is looking like still the one that's most in the oven in comparison to the rest. But yeah, the other one comparatively was The Thing, and I've been hearing about The Thing being in the game for over a year and a half now.
The Thing from like Fantastic Four.
Yes.
Yeah.
Him and his
that sounds sick.
And his blue pants. He literally has Goro's punch walk in the game. He's got a couple of crazy supers, and he picks up like huge boulders mid combo and smashes them on you and shit. He looks pretty great. So we have, and they put him against the Hulk, so he's like a little bit smaller than the Hulk. He's not nearly as big as a Hulk sort of style. And then
here's a really dumb thing for The Thing that I would love to see. It's like for like 4 months or something, he wore this weird like Iron Man helmet in the comics.
Stick
like
it on
4
him.
months because Wolverine clawed out his brains and shit. So he was all like, "Oh, I'm ugly." Like, first of all, you're The Thing. But he had these like gigantic Wolverine scratches. You could see his brain inside his head. So he wore this bucket helmet. I was like, please mod that into the game. I know there's already so much modding going on, but I'd love that Thing costume. Plus, he wore proper pants, not his big boy trunk shorts or whatever.
Yeah, he's got big boy trunk short pants on in the current mod of the game. And then the final one that I'm easily the most excited about, because I just didn't hear about this at all, was the ultimate trifecta. We've had Virgil, we've had Dante, we've had DMC1 Dante, we've had DMC5 Virgil. Nero is finally in Ultimate Marvel 3, and he is fucking wild. He is like, he's got the revving stuff where you can like rev moves and they do certain things. He's got the switching of arms where you can toss like Gerbera and switch to other arms and shit. I don't know how the hell they were able to get some of this shit online using existing assets. But if you look at like Nero's animations, it's wild how different he looks than all the other sword characters in the game when he's doing his shit. I was so impressed. I was like, I gotta play this shit, man. It looks like so much fun. So that's like the next big one that's going to be coming online.
Dude, yeah.
Cool.
Oh, and then there's a huge teaser at the end. John Talbane, Rogue, Dr. Wily, and
Dr. Wily?
At the very end, they're silhouettes. Let me look it up. Hold on a second. They're finally doing something with the MODOK play style with like, MODOK's crazy character model.
Yeah. Like the fly and everything.
There's Spider-Punk, Dr. Wily, Magma Dragoon from Mega Man X4
right?
is in there. And then currently in the works, John Talbane, Rogue, and Ruby Heart. And they have previews of John Talbane, Rogue, and Ruby Heart actually doing things, and they look super good. Ruby Heart actually has like the chests and the ghosts and shit. So I'm excited.
Where's Marrow? Get Marrow in there.
Is that Marrow?
Yeah. Who?
Do you think they'll add the Ruby Heart glitch just for lols?
I hope not. I hope not. Don't want this guy banned from the arcade.
Banned from the arcade.
Ultimate Marvel 3 once again continuing on and living in the spirit of fans, and the community edition is going to get an update soon. This one's pretty crazy to me. Tekken characters were added to Brawlhalla.
Yeah, that was interesting.
What? Huh? So
Street Fighter characters were added. Why not?
At some point they were, right? So we got like Devil Jin, Nina, and Tekken 3 Yoshimitsu have been added to
good choices.
Brawlhalla of all games, which is really, I mean, I guess that makes sense because again, like Brawlhalla is a game where I'm pretty sure somebody's have to correct me, where like the majority of movesets of characters are sort of like the same, and it's just skin based, where you just change the skins, right, of how they work. I think there's only so many actual like playable functions in the game, and then they just attach these characters, like these skin characters, to them.
Yeah, because there's like WWE wrestlers in there.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember. Yeah, I remember when the New Day was there. They did. I thought the New Day had their own moveset. I don't remember too sure.
Maybe there's special like circumstances, or like they build off existing movesets, but they add one or two things. Like the New Day's in there. Asuka from WWE is also in there, so they might like do one or two moves that are specific to them. Maybe that's how they do it. Like maybe Devil Jin has eye laser, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Or they have something that's really similar to eye laser. But we're getting closer to Tekken Cross Street Fighter every day. You can fight them in this. You can fight them in some mobile games, I'm sure. We're going to get there eventually.
Yep, we're just going to get there. We're just going to combine all the games together somehow and then actually convince Harada. So yeah, that's cool. Brawlhalla, once again, a game that refuses to go away in any way. It's just going to be around forever. Also,
Smash will be dead and buried. Brawlhalla will still be going.
Smash is dead and buried.
Yes,
it might be like the ultimate casual game that everybody's like it's just, they just play it, right? Because there's so many of their favorite characters. Like even kids, like if you're a kid, you're like, oh, I want to play Brawlhalla because Kung Fu Panda is a character
exactly,
in the game, or Adventure Time, right? So like Steven Universe. So all these characters are just there. Yeah, Ninja Turtles
are in there. I think Lara Croft is.
Yeah. And then if you're like, they even got G.I. Joe, which is crazy to me.
I didn't know that one.
So the fact that you have all these you have all these like characters from like 90s to like current generation to like 2000s, like there's a character for everybody that you're like, oh, I love this character in Brawlhalla. So I think that's what really stands out about Brawlhalla.
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme is in there. It's crazy.
I got really good news for you guys. For the first time in potentially a year and a half, I'm getting reports and news that the King of Fighters 15 matchmaking is actually fixed.
It's fixed?
Apparently,
that website's going to be gone?
I think that, hold on a second. Is KOF 15 matchmaking still broken.com? It's saying maybe because there has been several implemented changes over a while now, and there's been another one that happened even recently. And I think the consensus is that it's fixed. So people are saying some really good things about the matchmaking of the game now. I also can tell you other good news. Duo Lon was announced and added to the game, and he's hella fun.
You played it.
Yeah,
you played a little bit.
Got a lucky opportunity. SNK is always really nice with a lot of their early character stuff. They're like, hey, do you want to play Sylvie Paula Paula? And I'm like, no. Do you want to play Duo Lon? I'm like, yeah. So yeah, Duo is a character that I'll definitely check out on stream, and I did, and he's ridiculously fun character. Had a ton of fun figuring out all the crazy mix, and he does some pretty wild shit in the game, and he looks great. So if you're talking about the last time we saw Duo like actually in a fighting game was like KOF 13, and he was really fun in that game too. They made him a bit easier,
too.
Little different now. Like routes are a bit different. I was being given routes from 13 from existing KOF players, and luckily I just picked up on it kind of fast and was able to figure out some cool, like relatively kind of optimal shit with him. And he's not like a huge damaging character, but dude, really good hit confirms, crazy normals, crazy stretchy normals, EX stretchy normals. A lot of fun to be had here. So if you were a fan of Duo in previous KOF games, I think you're really going to like him in KOF 15.
Watching you play him and then the trailers, he actually reminded me of like 2003 Duel-on type of style, like the gameplay and everything.
What was the differences with that one compared to like 13?
Well, 13, they made every character just completely different, but just the combo routes of doing Rekka, and then going side switches was very 2003. Like that's the type of stuff he does. And even the supers were very similar in 2003 compared to 13.
Yeah. I can add they are modernizing Rekkas as well. Because Duo's Rekka is like the motion for the first attack and then just forward and attack for the follow-ups.
Oh, so you don't have to do full motions anymore.
Not anymore.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, that
pretty
kind of
cool.
goes with like KOF 15's more like slightly more casual friendly stuff that they've changed here and there, certain motions and things.
Still a game that is absolutely feels like it's catering towards a classic fighting game audience. Still has a lot of execution, still has a lot of like management on the stick that you have to do, especially. You have to learn all these shortcuts and shit for doing moves, but it's definitely easier than it's been before.
I saw in the trailer like he mentioned Shen, so I'm wondering maybe that's possible.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, in the trailer he talks about Shen.
Shen confirmed to not be dead.
Yes.
So that's important.
I think that's going to happen eventually, right? Shen being in the game, that has to happen eventually. It was weird that he missed 14.
We talked about this last time, and it's just like
Shen would work really well in 15 the way the gameplay works. So I can't imagine Shen would eventually they will just show up in the game.
For those that don't know, I'm sure there's a few that are like, who's Shen? Shen Wu is a fighting game character where someone said, why don't we have a character that just punches? And you're like, okay, you mean like punches with like this crazy amount of speed and like shoots like a dragon out of it or like a tornado? No, he just punches.
He just punches. It hits really hard.
I call his fight style Wild Punch.
Right. It's like, but he has like special armor. He's like bestowed with like a mystic, but no, he's just a cool guy. That's it.
Yeah, he's like, he kind of is, I think the most equivalent character I think I could put him to is like Miguel in Tekken. Sorta, but maybe even like less focus on that much. He has less personality than Miguel, in my opinion. He's like more straightforward. Like he says, I just punch you, and I'm wearing like a Hawaiian shirt or something like that.
No, it's like an anime club shirt. It's got like Vash the Stampede on the back. And
it should be one of those early 2000s like Samurai Showdown like button-ups.
Yeah.
I had one. I still have mine. I mean, to be honest,
you're wearing it right now.
I should wear it to the next Triple KO. Outside of that, we're starting to wrap up the news a little bit. The other one was we got a reveal of the latest DNF Duel character. It's Brawler. He had like an 8-minute gameplay demonstration, and he looks pretty. Like Spectre was kind of a character that was kind of wild and crazy and figuring out her neutrals like all over the place, but she was really fun. This character feels a bit more straightforward. And it looks like he's going to be a bit more like easier to use. Yeah, he's kind of like
gangster. Yeah.
He looks like a Yakuza character, sort of in the DNF universe. So I think it looks cool. Granted, DNF Duel is a game that me and Justin had a lot of fun with. I think Matt kind of had fun with it too. It's a game that didn't have a ridiculous amount of success across the board, but there's definitely still some fun to be had. And yeah, they're still adding they're finally adding characters consistently.
Yeah, now there's a whole season pass thing, and here's like we have a new stage, 2 more or 3 more characters after Brawler.
Yeah.
So this is like what we expected 2 months after the game launched, not 2 years. Not 2 years, or we're like a year.
We're
and a
getting
half,
there.
Maybe
we're a year and a half
there.
now. Yeah, maybe a bit over. It came out like July or something like that of last year.
Yeah. But Brawler looks sick though. He also has a poison thing, so you could put a dot on you, poison, and it's just like obviously he uses chains as like his major thing. So he's also a long range combo character.
Yes.
So it's actually be pretty interesting to see how this character plays out. I think I'll definitely give him a try because he looks cool. He gave me that vibe. I'm like, oh, he's a cool ass character actually.
Yeah. And I can't
like every character in DNF Duel is like the coolest version of that character.
You know, you're
not
wrong.
As shit.
You're not wrong.
DNF Duel is also a game that suffers heavily from, I hate to fight everybody in this game. So it's one of those where characters get enough crazy things where it's like, I don't have to deal with this bullshit, dude. Yes, the idea is to execute your bullshit faster than you get hit by theirs. And that is the ever balance of DNF Duel. I'm seeing down here, we have a note for Heihachi and Kuma. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, dude, did we talk about all the Tekken reveals from the previous video? We did talk about the last podcast. Okay.
It was short.
We kind of lumped them all together like, wow, they just threw all those characters in there. But I made the prediction that like Heihachi's not dead and his soul is now possessing Kuma, and this little bit from the Tekken website is not confirming that, but it's not deconfirming that. It's basically he loves Heihachi so much that he just wants to continue Mishima style, and now it's called Heihachi style Advanced Kuma Shinken. That is Kuma's official fighting style. But I think either at the end of the story mode, whatever it is, or DLC, there's it's gonna zoom into Kuma's eyes, and it's gonna have like a screaming Heihachi face, and he's trapped inside the bear's body.
It's gonna have like a moment where Kuma like wakes up from, he's like sleeping, and then he wakes up from a dream, and zoom into his face, and you get Kuma's perspective like through his eyes, and Heihachi's like, "Nani?" It's him on the inside. What is happening? Where am I?
I can't run the corporation like this. That'd be great. That's what I want so bad. They're not gonna give it to me though.
Dude, if Heihachi, if Kuma does Electro Wing Godfist and he has like the electric spark, I'm going to lose it. Like it's gonna be the funniest thing in the world.
They better. You bet, so Bandai Namco. You better give Kuma like a shit ton of Heihachi moves. Just let him have it, because this is now the opportunity for that character to live on. Yeah, I get it. They already stuck like Jin with several Heihachi things. I get it. No. But make Kuma the spiritual successor. It was his pet friendly bear for his entire life. Let the boy rock. Give him some Heihachi shit,
bro. Yeah, and you know what's crazy? Speaking of Tekken 8, I was at the Muay Thai fight, won championships yesterday, and I'm like listening to announcer. I'm like, this sounds like the Tekken 8 announcer, and it was her. Yeah, it was Leanne Hart because she does won championships, and I was like, it's her, and I was like, that was hype. I was really hype.
You should have gone up and say, can you announce my name, please? And you can
I didn't know where she was because I couldn't like she's not like in the middle of like the ring when she announces the fighters and everything, but I'm just like hearing the voice and I'm like, it's 100% her.
Yeah.
And then and I'm like, I googled it and it was like, yeah, she works for like the match I was at, so I was like, yeah, it's her for sure. So that was pretty sick, and that venue is also gonna be used for the biggest Thailand tournament, like the major, like the Tekken 8, the next Tekken 8 Masters event is gonna be at that Muay Thai stadium. So that's actually super cool.
Yeah, it's gonna like actually hold the fighting game like championships, locals, tournaments, whatever. But like in a fighting tournament building is just that's like super appropriate. That's pretty cool. Yeah. How would that sound though? Your name? It would be like Justin Wong. Like
it would be like big muscles.
Mine's so much dorkier than yours, though.